Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast and from the blog, A Bus on a Dusty Road. Today I was going to talk a little bit about Taiwan versus Vietnam. Let's say that you really only had the opportunity to travel to one country in Asia, and you didn't really want to do China or Hong Kong, and you were thinking, should I go to Taiwan or should I go to Vietnam? Well, my recommendation would be that you would travel to Vietnam. And let me explain to you some of the reasons why. First of all would be the cost. Traveling to Vietnam will be cheaper than traveling to Taiwan. You'll get more for your dollar in Vietnam than you would in Taiwan. In Vietnam, you can find a lot of great, comfortable hotels within the budget range or very luxury hotels, which would be comparatively inexpensive compared to other places. So the cost factor is one of the great advantages for Vietnam. The other would be the culture. Both Taiwan and Vietnam have a lot of great culture. There's a lot of, great things that you can see. Certainly Taiwan has some wonderful museums with Chinese artifacts in it and some, wonderful waterfalls and gorges and other things. But Vietnam, it does have a lot of great beaches, and it also has some amazing trekking, hiking, waterfalls, boat rides, kayaking, and a host of other things. So pretty much anything you can, do in Taiwan, you should be able to also find a place here in Vietnam to do it. The food, Taiwan has a lot of great Chinese food. In fact, there is some phenomenal Chinese food in Taiwan. But I would say that Vietnam is a foodie's paradise. In fact, that's one reason why you'll find a lot of tour companies here in Vietnam that will give food tours. We could go around and try all different kinds of food. And a lot of them, have it on the motorbike, and you can go around and try a bunch of street food. So Vietnam, if you like food and like to try different types of food, Vietnam really is a food lover's paradise. There's also a lot of places here that have cooking classes and other things like that you can try out and experiment with. History is also important in both places, but Vietnam really has a long history. As a former French colony, there's a lot of old buildings, a lot of old French villas, but yet there you can also find some old Chinese temples. So there's really a lot of rich history here in Vietnam. And both Taiwan and Vietnam are both rich in the arts. But Hanoi has a fabulous opera house, which is a replica of a Paris opera house. And if you're lucky to see a performance in there of the bamboo instruments, it really is quite a treat to see. So there's a lot of things that you can do in both places, but I would still recommend Vietnam for those places. And when you're in Vietnam, here would be my 5 top places I'd recommend for you to visit. This is if you had limited time, you couldn't see everything. First of all is Hanoi. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. It is the heartbeat of Vietnam. It is the cultural and art center of Vietnam. Hanoi is a lovely city. There's an old French quarters there. There's lakes. There's many old French buildings. It's a great city just to go around and explore, try the little cafes. If you like coffee, drink some coffee on the street. There's lots of different types of, coffee here if you're a coffee drinker. They offer you plenty of great things to see and do. There's some great shopping, restaurants, and so there's lots of ways, too. You can explore Hanoi. You can explore it on motorbike, bicycle. You go golf cart around the old quarters area. You can walk, or, of course, you could take a taxi. And about, 2 to 5 hours, depending upon which tour you take, you can go to Ha Long Bay. And Ha Long Bay is a fabulous place to visit. It's those magical mountains that you might have seen pictures of that are coming out of the ocean. I think there's 1,000 acres of them out there. And you could, stay on a boat there. You could just take a day trip and just go out there for one day. But actually, it's really worthwhile to see Ha Long Bay and to see these magnificent rock formations that are out there. You can usually, most of the tours will have you can kayak around. You can go into some of the caves. it's just really it's a fabulous place to see, especially this wonderful natural wonder of the world that's there. Another one of my favorite places that I love is Sapa. And Sapa is about 4 to 5 hours outside Hanoi. You can take a bus there. There is a train that will run sometimes, but I recommend most people take the bus. And there's some luxury buses, or of course you could take a car and driver. It's high up in the mountains. There's many hill tribes there. If you like to trek, you can trek there. If you wanted to learn how to make batik cloth, you could. There's some great markets there. You could spend the night with the Hmong family, or you could spend the night at a luxury hotel. So again, there's something for everybody in Sapa. If you have people that want to trek, they can trek. If you have people that want to do arts and crafts, you should be able to find a tour company that does some arts and crafts. There's, people want to shop. There's a market there, and there's some stores there with some interesting shopping. So Sapa, again, is one of my recommended places. Another place would be Hoi An. And Hoi An is a lovely beach town in the central part of Vietnam. To fly to Hoi An, you need to go to Da Nang, which Da Nang is also known, for those of you that might be for those of you that might be Vietnam War buffs, it's what the American soldiers used to call China Beach. And Hoi An has a lovely old town that's filled with some lovely shops and restaurants. And there's also cultural things that you could see there in the area. There's an ancient Khmer-style monument, and there's also some great beaches. So when we went to Hoi An, we spent our days at the beach, and at night we go, into this lovely old town, and then we, maybe see some of the cultural places there too. So again, it's a lovely place worth seeing. And Ho Chi Minh, of course, is another place like Hanoi. Ho Chi Minh is the heartbeat of Vietnam, in the south. It has a business district down there, which is the heart and soul of the business of Vietnam. It's buzzing with excitement. There's many types of, districts there that you can go into and see. Lots of great restaurants, bars, shopping. And around Ho Chi Minh, there's a couple of side trips that you could take. One would be for the Chu Chi tunnels, which is the old tunnel system that was built by the Viet Cong or the Viet Minh, that you can actually crawl into the tunnels. You can see the tunnels there. It's really quite a fascinating place to go. And the other is the Mekong Delta. You can take a boat out to the Mekong Delta. And for, many of you have been to Thailand. The Mekong Delta always reminded me a little bit about riding a boat, in along some of the Thailand's klongs and other places. So, the Mekong Delta is also another side trip. So, really with Ho Chi Minh, you can take some side trips, and Hanoi, you can take some side trips. So that's really what makes traveling Vietnam so great, is that you can basically, start in the north or the south. You can see the cities there. You can take a couple side trips. You could stop in the central part in Hoi An, or if you want to go to Hue, or you go to Da Lat, which are also some great places too in the central part. And then you could go up to Hanoi, and through Hanoi you could see Ha Long Bay and you could see Sapa. So there's just so many great things that you could see here in Vietnam. And there, you could have such a great experience here just by visiting here for even, just a week or 2 weeks. There's lots that you can see here and experience. And it's not as expensive as Taiwan. So that's why if somebody asked me, would you travel to Taiwan or Vietnam? Though I think they're both great countries to travel to, but I would have to recommend Vietnam as a better place to travel. And also from Vietnam, if you wanted to, you could very easily fly, or you could take a bus into Cambodia. And Cambodia itself is another really interesting country to go to visit and to explore. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. It's all about living life as a global citizen. And you could read our blog, A Bus on a Dusty Road, where we've got, just tons of information all about living life as a global citizen. We believe that living life as a global citizen is about exploring other countries, learning about the world around you. And even if you can't, travel to a place, it's about learning about it, about being excited about the world and and people and cultures throughout the world. We really appreciate your listening. Thank you so much for listening. It's people like you that listen that make it all worthwhile. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up and leave us a review. It really does help, and we appreciate you listening to us. Thank you so much.